Welcome back to the Chapters of the Imperium. In this series, we explore the diverse and iconic Space Marine chapters of Warhammer 40k. Today, we venture into the frozen wilds of Fenris to meet the Space Wolves, one of the most savage and legendary chapters in the Imperium of Man. Known for their brutal combat style, independent nature, and connection to their homeworld's Viking-like traditions, the Space Wolves are a chapter unlike any other. Grab your frost axe, and let's dive into the lore of the Sons of Russ. The Space Wolves were born from the Great Crusade, created by the Emperor of Mankind as one of his original 20 Space Marine legions. Their gene seed comes from their Primarch, Leman Russ, a giant of a man raised on the brutal ice world of Fenris, a planet inhabited by fierce tribes and monstrous predators. When the Emperor discovered Russ, he had already established himself as a king on Fenris, ruling with an iron fist and embodying the wild, untamed nature of his home. Leman Russ and his legion would come to be known as the Space Wolves, embodying the warrior culture of Fenris. Fiercely loyal, independent, and often distrustful of outsiders, the Space Wolves would become the Emperor's executioners, quote-unquote, called upon when the Imperium needed a swift and brutal solution to a problem. Leman Russ was no ordinary Primarch. He wasn't just a warrior, he was a symbol of the unbreakable bond between the Emperor and the Space Wolves. Russ's legacy is deeply ingrained in his chapter. His leadership was marked by honor, ferocity, and an unwavering loyalty to the Emperor, although he was often at odds with his brother Primarchs. He was especially close to the likes of Rogel Dorn, but famously clashed with Magnus the Red, a rivalry that would culminate in the famous Burning of Prospero. Burning of Prospero, where the Space Wolves were ordered to destroy Magnus and his 1,000 sons, is one of the most pivotal events in the chapter's history. While many would view them as executioners, the Space Wolves themselves saw it as a necessary act to protect the Imperium, even from its own sons. In combat, the Space Wolves are renowned for their savage and unpredictable tactics. Unlike other chapters that follow the strict Codex Astartes, the Space Wolves prefer to rely on their instincts, charging into battle with the ferocity of their wolf totems. Their warriors, known as Blood Claws, are aggressive and eager to prove themselves, while the older, battle-hardened Grey Hunters balance the youthful rage with more experience. They also possess unique units like the Wolf Guard, the elite of the chapter, and Thunderwolf Cavalry, Space Marines riding massive, genetically enhanced wolves into battle. With these forces, the Space Wolves excel at close combat, preferring to tear their enemies apart in brutal, hand-to-hand fighting rather than relying on long-range tactics. Fenris, the Space Wolves' homeworld, is as much a character in their story as the warriors themselves. It is a frozen death world where survival is the ultimate test. The native Fenrisians live in harsh conditions, battling not only the elements, but also gigantic sea monsters and towering predators. Those chosen to join the ranks of the Space Wolves are referred to as the Wolfborn, and they must survive the brutal Canis Helix, the genetic transformation that imbues them with the traits of Fenrisian wolves. This process can be as much as a curse as it is a blessing. While it grants Space Wolves heightened senses and reflexes, it also runs the risk of triggering a condition known as the Curse of the Wulfen, where the warrior loses themselves to the primal instincts of a wolf, becoming feral and uncontrollable. Despite this, those who master the Canis Helix became some of the most fearsome warriors in the Imperium. Though the Space Wolves don't adhere strictly to the Codex Astartes, they play a vital role in defending the Imperium. Their independence and refusal to bow to tradition often put them at odds with other chapters, especially more rigid ones like the Ultramarines. However, their brutal efficiency and loyalty to the Emperor are never in doubt. Beyond their battles, the Space Wolves have a mysterious side. Leman Russ himself vanished into the Eye of Terror after the Horus Heresy, vowing to return during the Imperium's darkest hour, leaving the chapter under the leadership of its Great Wolf. To this day, Space Wolves seek out any sign of their lost Primarch, believing in the prophecy of his return. The current leader of the Space Wolves is mighty Logan Grimnar, the Great Wolf. Under his command, the chapter has faced numerous enemies, including the Orcs, Chaos, and the Tyranids. Grimnar embodies the spirit of Russ, leading with both honor and savagery. One of the chapter's most famous legends is the 13th Company, a group of space wolves lost to the warp during the Horus Heresy, only to re-emerge centuries later. Their sudden reappearance, still fighting against chaos, adds to the chapter's mythic status. The space wolves are more than just warriors. They are legends. Their loyalty to their Primarch, their rejection of rigid rules, and their fierce combat style makes them one of the most unique and revered chapters in the Imperium. They live by their own code, but they fight for the Emperor with all of the fury of Fenris behind them. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the lore of the Space Wolves. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chapters of the chapters in the Imperium. Until next time, remember, there are no wolves on Fenris. Or are there?